Hello, my name is Kirsty Melville and I am the President and Publisher of Andrews McMeel. I'm delighted to be presenting to you our Fall 2023 Adult Preview. We have some great books for you and I'm very proud of our publishing program this year. I hope you enjoy and laugh and have some fun with our books. Thanks for watching. We are thrilled to present our first release. For the first time in 27 years, we are publishing a new work from Bill Watterson, the brilliant and profound creator of the beloved Calvin and Hobbes comic strip. The Mysteries, a collaboration with renowned caricaturist John Casht, is an illuminating, beautifully conceived, illustrated story about what lies beyond human understanding. In this fable for grown-ups, a long-ago kingdom is afflicted with unexplainable calamities. Hoping to end the torment, the king dispatches his knights to discover the source of the mysterious events. Years later, a single battered knight returns. Watterson and Casht worked together for several years in unusually close collaboration to produce the book. Both artists abandoned their past ways of working, originating and fusing their vision and illustrations in a way that neither anticipated was possible. A mysterious process in its own right. The deluxe hardcover cloth edition captures the feel of a classic fairy tale book with evocative, detailed art. It will be only available in print and is designed to be an immersive experience for the reader.
A celebration of the journey that started it all. From international best-selling poet Rupi Kaur comes a beautifully designed 3-book box set of the poetry collections that solidified her as the poetic voice of a generation. This set includes her striking debut, Milk and Honey, her transcendent follow-up, The Sun and Her Flowers, and the intimately reflective third chapter, Homebody. This trilogy follows Rupi through her formative years, exploring themes of love, loss, trauma, healing, femininity, and migration. The Rupi Kaur Trilogy box set is a stunning collector's item, a thoughtful gift, and a must-have for readers who enjoy Kaur's work and all poetry lovers.
Self-Love for Small Town Girls is an exciting offering from beloved best-selling author Lang Liev. This is a collection of stunning poetry and prose. It seeks to define the loaded question of what it means to be a woman in the modern world. As women, we create lives with our bodies, but often do not have autonomy over our own. We create worlds with our words, yet struggle to be heard. Collectively, we yearn for the right to be treated with compassion and equity in our public and private spaces. The path to self-love is seldom a smooth one, especially for those who have further to travel. Self-Love for Small Town Girls is a book for anyone seeking the best and brightest version of themselves. Spanning decades of growth through self-analysis and introspection, it is Lang's most personal and stunning collection to date. The second new release by Lang Liev this year is an elegant hardcover collector's edition. Love and Misadventure celebrates the 10th anniversary of her best-selling debut. This gorgeous gift book features a special foreword by Lang and highly personal annotations interspersed throughout. Also included is newly colored artwork and a ribbon marker. Beautifully illustrated and thoughtfully conceived, this updated version of Love and Misadventure will take you on a roller coaster ride. Join Lang on the highly relatable themes of love, from the initial butterflies through soaring heights and a devastating plunge. In the end, the message is one of hope.
Hi, my name is Lang, and I'm thrilled to celebrate the 10th anniversary edition of my best-selling poetry book, Love and Misadventure, with a very special collector's edition. For this cloth-bound hardcover edition, I want to give my readers something truly special. Newly coloured artworks, cloth spine, a ribbon marker, and a gorgeous new front cover design. And featuring a special foreword by me, as well as highly personal annotations interspersed throughout the book. Perfect for my existing fans and those who are new to my work. I love this collector's edition of Love and Misadventure so much, and I hope you will too.
Now, we're excited to introduce A Heart on Fire by Danielle Koch Balfour, the illustrator, speaker, entrepreneur, and founder of Oh Happy Danny. Unabashedly faith-inspired, yet always culturally relevant, Danielle is a straight shooter of hard truths. She inspires women of all ages with her upbeat, curious tone and her willingness to address difficult issues with honesty, grace, and hope. In her debut book, A Heart on Fire, 100 Meditations on Loving Your Neighbors Well, Danielle guides readers through the 10 pillars of a life of good work, explaining that a life of good work is both conscious and intentional. Danny explores ideas of justice, empathy, hope, community, love, consistency, awareness, creativity, honesty, and redemption. With thoughtful meditations and practical to-dos, A Heart on Fire will inspire readers to evaluate their life and make changes. A Heart of Fire will also share a profound truth in a conversational tone. Be a reliable resource offering encouragement and mentorship for readers seeking to create positive change. Simplify and clarify daily, real-life choices that impact a reader's everyday experience. Serve as a guide and relate as a friend to support those struggling to find purpose. And become a trusted support that any reader can revisit and share when facing challenges.
Number 1 New York Times best-selling poet Young Pueblo returns with his most ambitious collection yet. In The Way Forward, this third and final installment of his poetic trilogy, he expands upon favorite themes while guiding readers further toward a life lived authentically, intuitively, and in harmony with others. In these rapidly changing times, it is more important than ever to know ourselves well and fully, even in the face of turmoil. The Way Forward encourages readers to connect more deeply to their intuition, using it to remain focused and grounded amidst a world in constant flux. In this latest collection of poetry and short prose, Young Pueblo offers clear strategies for managing the unknown, inhabiting your personal power, and bringing your truest, healthiest self to relationships. Progressing naturally from both inward and clarity and connection, The Way Forward is exactly that, an inspired beginning.
Up next is Dracula Daily by Matthew Kirkland. In 2020, Matt launched an email newsletter serialization of Bram Stoker's Dracula that took the internet by storm and garnered over 240,000 followers. The viral email newsletter, called Dracula Daily, an ingenious reanimation of Stoker's classic, now has a physical product. This deluxe hardcover volume includes the remixed text of the classic novel, along with humorous chapter headers and a curated selection of the funniest memes, wittiest commentary, and best fan art selected from among Dracula Daily's subscribers.
Hi, I'm Lucas Wetzel. I'm an editor here at Andrews McMeel Publishing, and I'm with Matt Kirkland, and he is the author and compiler of Dracula Daily.
That's me.
So, what is Dracula Daily?
So, Dracula Daily is an email newsletter, and now a book, where I've taken the book, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and arranged it strictly chronologically, day by day. And then each day you can follow the character's journey, the story, only explicitly what's happening on that day.
So, when you decided to make a newsletter out of Dracula, how did you go about actually setting it up?
So I used an email newsletter platform where I could chop up the book into the right segments, schedule them to go out in advance, and then I kind of just forgot about it. I did that on January 1st of 2021, queued everything up, sort of forgot about it, and then started realizing as Dracula season approached, which is Dracula season is how I think about May 3rd through November 5th now. I realized I should start telling some people about it, and then just tried to tell a few friends, put a little announcement in a few places, but that was it.
How did the first year go?
I thought the first year went great. We had about 1,500 people sign up and read along,
Wow.
which felt like an incredible success for a goofy book club. And I thought I was going to be once done through it, never do that project again, until around 2022. I just logged into the system, checked to see where we were, and a whole bunch more people had subscribed. So I emailed everyone and said, "Hey, what are you here for? Do you want to read Dracula a second time?" And everyone overwhelmingly said yes. And then that's the year that it just skyrocketed. So it went from 1,500 subscribers to 200,000 subscribers over the course of a couple of weeks. So.
Wow. How did that happen? How did so many people find out about it?
I think it was entirely social media driven, and a lot of just organic sharing. But so I did put a note that said, "Hey, this is more fun to read together. If you want, like if you've got a book club, if you've got friends, you can kind of walk through this journey of Dracula together."
What do you think it is about Bram Stoker's classic novel that appeals to all these people today, posting about it on Tumblr, on Twitter?
Right. Well, I mean, I think everybody loves a vampire story, and Dracula is the vampire story. But I think it was really fun for people to read this way because so many people had not actually read the book Dracula. We all know who Dracula is, and we know what a vampire is, and we know all the tropes. But there's so many weird things in this book that people were not prepared for. Just the basics of there's a cowboy. The cowboy is always trying to shoot Dracula with a gun. At one point, Dracula wears a straw hat that everyone makes fun of him for. There's just a lot of weird content in it, and the real drama of the book, even the core plot points, a lot of people just didn't know. So it's a fun read. It's a fun actual book. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the book itself. What can you tell me about?
I'm so excited about it. So the final book is the whole story of Dracula. It's arranged chronologically, and it's got all this great commentary and artwork. It's all through it. It's got these big, beautiful
I love those end pages.
I love about. We saw so much cool artwork that people had generated online as like fan art, like it was some kind of media property, and so many people shared that artwork and beautiful like illustrations in the sidebars. And I love the like range of styles of stuff that's photorealistic, stuff that's very kind of cartoony, but that's my favorite part of it, just seeing that kind of expression all the way through it. And I love how like meaty it is. It feels like a real keepsake, like a real memento of that year, and it's still like a very nice, like comfortable like reading experience. So just being able to like work through the text and like save your spot with a bookmark, I love that part.
All right. Well, thanks again, Matt, for joining us here at Andrews McMeel. And also congratulations on kicking off the third season now.
Yes, thank you.
Dracula Daily. How is the subscriber list looking? Have people kept up with it?
People have kept up, and more people have joined. So there are more people reading Dracula now than ever on Dracula Daily. Yeah.
Awesome. And when does the book come out?
The book comes out September 19th of this year. Very exciting.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Our next title, Girls of the World, is a collection of powerful photographs and moving stories showcasing young women of all backgrounds. From diverse backgrounds and cultures, these girls are awesome in their own special way. Travel from Kabul to Texas with author and photographer Mihaela Narak and experience astonishing diversity and a shared humanity in Girls of the World, 250 portraits of awesome. The inspiring stories of these young women are the stories of our planet. Their gaze into the camera reveals their strength, tenacity, and joy, even in the face of hardships and extraordinary challenges. Author Mihaela Narak has been traveling the world for over 10 years. She has been to over 100 countries, documenting her journeys through her photography. Through her travels from Kabul to Texas, Narak illustrates the potential and beauty that every girl from every part of the world holds. Her original photography is spectacular and has been featured on NPR and in Forbes and Business Insider.
Gods, demigods, and true romance? Office Gods, based on the popular webcomic by Katerina Oktarina, is an addictive rom-com set in the corporate headquarters of the Olympians themselves. Iris, a young human woman, is swept into the world of divine bureaucracy when she's recruited to work in the Office of the Gods, in the Department of Hermes. The gods and goddesses may be beautiful beyond human comprehension, but she quickly learns that they're every bit as petty and quarrelsome as they were thousands of years ago. Can she survive Eris's antics, Aphrodite's temper, and getting caught between a love triangle with the demigod sons of Athena and Hades? Office Gods is an ongoing webcomic with more than 1.4 million views. This is a continuing series that will be followed by additional volumes.
When your world is upended, how do you react? Who do you become? Two New York Times columnists, illustrator Julia Rothman and writer Shayna Feinberg, seek answers to these questions and more in this gorgeously illustrated collection of sometimes heartbreaking, always illuminating first-person stories. based on one of Feinberg and Rothman's columns in the New York Times, How We Got By, New Yorker's Advice for Getting Through a Crisis, this book is an ambitious journalistic undertaking rendered in an artful collectible package. Each personal account is accompanied by one of Rothman's full-color illustrated portraits and touches on a wide variety of subjects from money and business to relationships, family, trauma, and death. A window into the world of how others think, feel, and ultimately survive, How We Got By invites us to remember our shared humanity as well as our truly extraordinary resilience.
Last, but definitely not least, is People Not Things. Poignant and moving, this debut collection of poetry from Genesis B bravely examines what it means to stay hopeful on the arduous journey to freedom. Drawing on her activism and anti-racist work as covered by the New York Times and Vice, B examines tools of division and challenges our notion of freedom in an effort to combat racism, sexism, homophobia, and transphobia. The poems in People Not Things are amplified by Genesis's original artwork. Both her art and poems work together to expand upon the themes of race, sexuality, and identity throughout the collection. Genesis B offers a strikingly honest yet hopeful snapshot of her journey as a queer Black woman in America fighting for the humanity of her community. Equal parts delicate and unapologetic, People Not Things is a powerful debut that will speak to the hearts of readers from all walks of life.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to write this book?
So a little bit about me. I was raised in Mississippi to two loving parents. My mama is what society would deem white. My daddy is what society would deem Black. But they raised me to be a loving human being and a decent human being. And yeah, we were raised Muslim, a very beautiful path, a golden path that has led me to a lot of my activism work, and a lot of my creative work is birthed through my learnings about compassion and empathy through an Islamic lens, and a lens of a very multi-racial, multi-spiritual, multi-religious family, along with my two big brothers. But yeah, I do music, I do poetry and painting, and it's all to share a message of love and connection and people, not things.
Can you tell us a little bit about your work as a writer and as a painter?
Sure. As a writer, I started writing pretty young, like second grade, maybe younger. My father and my mother taught us all how to read very, very early. And so I started writing early, and I was exposed to a lot in my household. Like, my father is very social justice oriented because he grew up in Mississippi during, a time where his humanity was deemed limited by the power around him, right? Whether it was law enforcement or this, that, and the other. And his father was a civil rights activist, my grandfather, Reverend Clyde Briggs. So I grew up in this atmosphere where my father was having us bear witness to different atrocities that were happening around the world or that have happened at a very young age. Things that I couldn't even wrap my head around, but it was important for us to see this, he thought, right? And it took us to a KKK rally when I was like 5 or 6, I remember.
Wow.
Lots of History Channel, reading up and learning about different conflicts and how humans can treat each other, like the potential of what humans are willing to do to each other for power and resources and this, that, and the other. So that was something that I began processing at a very young age, and writing was my way of my young mind trying to process these things, because usually the two don't go together, with youthful innocence and the realities of what humanity does to itself.
Yeah.
So my way of reconciling that and understanding was writing, and I started writing poetry at a very, very young age. I didn't start painting until much later in life. So I started very early with poetry, went into music, stayed in music for like 20 years. And then in 2016, after I did my protest, I did a protest against Confederate History Month that turned into a protest about the Mississippi state flag holding the Confederate emblem in it. But after that protest, immediately I started to paint. I'll get into that maybe later, but that's when I first picked up a paintbrush, was 2016, so not too long ago. And so I still consider myself an amateur of the craft, and I'm learning the craft as I go.
Which section of the book do you think is your favorite, and why?
Barriers to love is absolutely my favorite because it is the most important barrier to overcome. If you can overcome the barrier to love, more specifically the barrier to self-love, all of the other barriers can eventually be broken down easier, right? The barrier of fear, barrier of control, barrier of communication, those barriers only are able to exist because we're unable to love ourselves. We're unable to love what's around us, truly. And so when I say self-love, I don't mean like, oh, I go in the mirror and I say my affirmations every day. No, I mean, am I able to forgive myself when I make mistakes? Do I rerun my mistakes in my head? Do I have negative self-talk along with these mistakes that are rerun in my head? People Not Things is a call to unlearn the programming that teaches us that we're not enough, that person is not enough, right? Because they're Black, gay, straight, trans, rich, poor, right? Because we got some thoughts about rich people too,
Yeah.
no matter what the label is. Now, people, not things. Like, learn to see people as complex human beings worthy of dignity first. And in order to do that, you got to see yourself as a complex human being worthy of dignity first and foremost. So that's why Barrier to Love is my absolute favorite, because it is the most important. And if on a collective scale we can all do this, we will see a drop in war. We will see a drop in exploitation. We'll see a drop in addictions and violence, personal violence. That's my true belief.
All right. So before I let you go, Genesis, would you mind reading the closing piece to People Not Things, a love poem for humanity for us?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
A love poem for humanity. You are hard to love. You are hard to trust. But I love you and I trust that you have a greater purpose than what you've shown. You broke my heart more than once. I was 5 years old the very first time. Peeking around the corner at the screen my papa was watching, I saw skinny men that looked like living ghosts and little babies that slept as ashes. I saw for the first time how you eat yourself alive: greed, possession, power, pain, hatred, trauma, projection, blame. Still, the immensity of my love for you expands way beyond my understanding. That gleam in a curious child's eye, that slight smile right before you cry, as to say, don't worry, I'll be okay. I feel like things are getting better. I try to convince myself that you are not as bad as the news says, as history shows. Besides, when it comes to you, negativity glows. With all your innovations in medicine, engineering, technology, you have the ability to do better. Papa says, be careful not to fall in love with potential. Love people for who they are, not what you wish them to be. Same for you, I suppose.
Awesome. Round of applause, round of applause. Well, we are very excited. People Not Things coming this fall. Can't wait to get it in bookstores. Yes. Get that message out there.